Hi everyone! Today we're going to read Sunday with Seurat. On a sunny Sunday in the park, families play until it's dark, strolling or sitting under the trees, enjoying the river's cooling breeze. Up a hill is a bird's eye view of a sea that sparkles green and blue. Fishermen cast their lines and wait for Sunday's supper to take their bait. Bathers find a place to lie and watch the sailboats gliding by. At night the circus comes to town, the lights grow dim and trombones sound. A lady in gold does a balancing act, racing around on a white horse's back, while a clown upside down trails the pack. Dancing girls kick legs up high and waving skirts, they say goodbye.
Hi everyone, I hope you enjoyed the story read by Miss Jen. Today we're going to be discussing Georges Seurat. He's a French artist, and this piece is his most famous. It's called A Sunday Afternoon on the Island of Le Grand Jatte. It's a place in France, and what's really interesting about his art is that he developed a style called pointilism. So pointilism sounds really big and fancy, but it literally just means tiny dots. So every little thing that you see, and it probably looks a little pixelated. You've probably seen photos that have been stretched too much and you can see each little square. Well, that's because everything was done by tiny dots. So millions of little dots were used to create this piece. And you can't tell by the paper that I have here, but this piece is bigger than lifelike. So even your tallest family member can stand next to it and look small. It's really, really big. So we are actually going to kind of mimic this today. So this is what the final piece looks like. My paper's curled up a little bit, but and we're gonna make our own little dots. So in your pack, you will have this little cartoon looking paper. So it looks like a coloring page. And then you're going to need all of your colors. So your yellow, your red, your blue, burnt umber, and your white. And in mine, you're probably saying, wait, we don't have green. You're gonna make green. So we talked in the first week about primary colors. So our primary colors are blue, red, and yellow. These three colors are the basis of every color. So I will show you right now. So if you wanted to make green, you can put this here. And if you don't have a palette, you can make one out of just a paper plate. So then this, and then you take some of this, and then when I mix it together, I've got green. So my green, I'm gonna go ahead and put this in my water so I don't get too much blue. But I can put more yellow in here. And the more yellow I get, the lighter it'll be. So this is a nice green. So we're gonna mix our own colors. It's really fun. I like doing it. And one cool thing about mixing your own colors is that nobody will really have the same colors as you because you decide how much goes into it. So we're not going to use the paintbrush a whole lot. We will at first, but we're mostly going to make our dots with Q-tips. So I'm going to start off though with this grass. So all of this is grass. And if you look at his painting, you can see that he has different colors of green. And so this is dark because it's in a shadow, and these are dark because they're in a shadow. So you have on yours too little outlines of where the shadows are. So I'm going to use a darker green. So I'm actually going to put some more blue in this because I think it's too light. So I'm going to mix my green to make it a little darker, and we're going to start with the shadow spots with our paintbrush. So we're not going to paint like we usually do. We're actually going to try to make dots with our paintbrush. So you're going to take it and you're going to go just little dots. And this ends up looking really cool because, and kind of like grass, because you have the texture from your bristles. But if we did this with our Q-tip, it would take us forever. Probably as long as it took him to do the whole painting. Okay, maybe not that long. He worked on that for years of his life, working all day. And if you get some where you don't want it, that's okay, because you can actually go over it with whatever color you want to, and it'll kind of erase it. So I'm just making some grass over here. If you see a spot that might be a little hard to do, like in between this little monkey, you can save that for when you use a Q-tip. You don't have to do all of this. You don't have to do the whole grassy area with the paintbrush. It's just easier. I tried to do it the other way and it was just taking me forever. I'm a little impatient. I just like the way it looks because it does kind of look like grass. And if you have to mix more, I'm probably going to have to mix more green soon. That's okay. And if it's not exactly the same color, that's fine, because when you look at grass in real life, it's you know, not all the same color, because some of it's more in shadow. Maybe it's a different type of grass in one part of the yard than in the other. So it doesn't have to be perfect. So I'm gonna add a little bit more, and I'm gonna try my best to get a very similar color, which may or may not work. That's okay. Oh. See, mine's a little blue, and I want it to be a little more green, so I'm gonna add a little bit more yellow. And I know I'm taking up a ton of my palette, but because we're mixing our own colors and there's not a lot, you'll actually be able to mix color on top of that because it's going to dry. This right here is a different type of grass too. Because I'm doing this all in the dark, I'm actually going to do that one light later. So these are kind of areas that I think are a little hard. So I'm going to be done. Maybe I'll fill in a little bit more, but I'm almost done using my paintbrush. So you'll want to make sure when you're done with your paintbrush that you do dip it in the water and get it cleared out, because if you don't, the paint will dry and then you won't be able to use your paintbrush again. And then I just always do this to make sure that it's, then I'm going to switch to the Q-tip. And I do mine, I like to get it all coated, because I sometimes use the side of my Q-tip, and you're going to do the same thing. You're just going to dot it, but this time it's actually going to look more like dots. And it's a little easier to get into these small areas, and you can just get in there. Once again, if you mess up, that's okay, because you can put darker colors over top of it. I think this is my favorite activity that we did. It's a lot of fun. I like being able to mix my own colors, kind of experiment, like what's going to happen if I put, you know, red in it. And you can do that if you want to figure out what happens if you put a little bit of red maybe in the green. Go ahead and try. And if you don't like it, start adding more blue and more yellow to it and make it a little greener. Because that's the fun thing about it, like working with color, is that you really get to experiment and like use your own imagination and try to figure out how to make colors that you like. And sometimes, like, I've made colors and I have no idea what to call them. Like, I've made purples that if I were to explain to somebody, I wouldn't even know what to call it because I made it myself. That's okay because I think it's pretty, so I do it anyway. Okay, so I'm basically done with the big part of my yard. So because I still have this dark green, I'm actually going to work on these areas that I think are shadows. And you don't have to do them green if you don't want to. I'm gonna go ahead and get in here, and I try to dot them close together so it gives it more of a, you know, colored in completely look. You don't have to. It's kind of like stamping. It's kind of fun. And try not to get her hair because I don't want it to be green, but that would be kind of cool. Wish I had green hair. Do any of you have green hair? If you do, I want to see it. And then I'm just gonna keep and I know, like, when I did this to practice, it looked so weird at first, but once you get other colors going in and you're starting to fill out some of the other spots, it really does come all together and it ends up looking really cool and super impressive. Like, your parents are gonna call your grandparents and be like, guess what they did today? And they're gonna show you off. And they're gonna get to say that you mixed your own colors, which is super cool. Okay, so I'm done with that for now. And I think that I want to work on the monkey. So I'm actually just going to use the other end of my Q-tip to do a different color. So then I'm just going to, like, try to dot him very carefully. Just follow the little outline. Oh, he's a little blocky. That's okay. I know he's a monkey at least, even though he doesn't look maybe as nice as I wanted him to. But once again, once you get everything, like, worked in, it looks a lot better too. For his head, I'm actually gonna put this down and grab another, I'm going to mix white with this brown color. And when you mix them together, it turns a light brown. And I'm gonna use this for his face because I can see that it was the way that it was drawn out, that it should be a different color. So I'm just gonna dot him. There's my monkey. I really liked this color that I got here. And I think I might use the color that I just mixed for the dog. Give him like a little light brown look to him. And you're just making little dots. Oh, his tail got really long. Then, next thing I'm going to do is, I think I'm going to just use blue and work on the water. So this little boat is sitting in water. So this whole triangle piece behind this lady is water. And I'm just gonna do it this normal blue color, just the blue that came right from the little bottle. Try not to get her, but if you do, it's okay. Sometimes you can use your other dots because they have more paint on them. So if you start to run out, you can just touch some of your other dots and get a little bit more paint. Or you can always redip it. See, like these ones have a lot of paint on them, so I'm gonna come back to those. See, like right now, I'm running out of paint. So this one is done, but I am going to take some blue and stick it in here because I want to make purple. So purple, I'm going to grab another one, is just blue and red. So I'm gonna get a little bit of red. And my green right here is dry, so I don't really have to worry about it mixing in. Add a little bit more. And if your color is too dark, so this is a little dark, add more. Well, actually, I'm gonna use it to kind of make waves in my water. So once it's mixed in, I'm just gonna put some extra dots to make it look like there's a little more depth to it. So that just means that it looks a little bit more real. But if this color is too dark for you, all you have to do is take your white and mix it in, because then look, we have a nice light blue. I actually really like this color, so I'm going to use it for, I think, this lady's dress. I'm gonna do the bottom of her skirt in this blue that I made, and I'm just gonna, we're gonna keep dotting because we want to basically do our own version of pointilism. It might be hard to match colors that you made if you have like a big space to do, but I don't think you'll really need to worry about that as much, because it looks cool when you have colors that are similar, because it will give it depth like we talked about earlier. I really like this color. I'm very happy with it. I don't know exactly how I made it, but that's okay. But I like it so much, and that's why I wanted it to be on this lady, because she's one of the biggest figures here. She's at the front, which we call the foreground, which is a fancy word that just means in front. I'm getting my hands all messy, and that is one of my favorite things. So her little leash for her monkey, it's kind of hard to get in there, so I'm just leaving it blank because I don't want people to not see the leash. But if you wanted to cover her whole skirt and cover that up, you can. And then I'm going to color this part the same color, because I'm going to put a different color in between. Look, she has a skirt on. It looks really nice. I think I'm going to do just normal blue because I like it today. And I'm going to put it in here because I think it looks really cool with that light blue that I made. Okay, so I'm going to mix my light green now. So when you make a light green, you're actually going to do more yellow, and I'm going to need a lot of it. So I'm going to try to put it in here. So let's see what this looks like. Sometimes it's easier to use your paintbrush to mix colors, especially if you need a lot of them. I'm going to use a little bit more. Ooh. Trying to see. Sometimes you can even add a little white. So let's add some white and see what happens. Oh yeah, I like this color a lot. So this is the color I'm going to use for all of these other grassy areas. I have another Q-tip, and I'm going to actually take some of the paint that I put on my brush, because there's a lot on here and I don't want to waste it. And then let's go ahead and dot it on. And at first you won't be able to tell just how different your lighter green is from your darker green, but once you kind of step back and look at it, once it's all done, you'll definitely be able to tell. So my coloring sheet looks a little different than yours. It's a little smaller, so yours will look a lot more proportionate, which means it'll look more even. So I'm gonna go ahead and try to get this in here. Sometimes it gets to the side, so you can turn it to the side and still dot it. Then just kind of dot it. As even from the side, you're still making the same dots that you were making from the front, from the top of it, like this. Try to get more of this paint off before I put it in my water, because once again, you have to make sure if you're using your paintbrush that you get the paint off of your brush so you can use it again. It's not fun when it gets all gunked up. It gets hard and then you can't get the paint out of the bristles. So I have all my grass done. I just use that light color, and I'm gonna use the same light green. Actually, I might put a little bit more yellow in it because I'm gonna put this in the trees. So I'm just gonna get the, and I like when there's like a little more yellow, so I'll actually probably end up putting yellow on top. Because when you see trees, they're not always just green. And it also makes it look a little different from the grass, because this whole thing has a lot of green in it. If you want it to. If you want to make the trees purple, go ahead. I think it'd be cool to see purple trees in real life. I would actually love to see purple trees in real life. Maybe one day, maybe science will make us purple trees. Got a lot of paint on that one. I'm going to use the side again because I have a lot of paint on the side. Kind of scooping up the green that I have left so I don't have to mix more for just this tiny bit. I'm going to go ahead and go in here. And then one thing that I like to do, so I'm going to make a dark green, so I'm going to add a little bit more blue to this to do this part, because these are more, oops, I made a thing up here. They're more of like a pine tree, and pine trees are usually darker, so I'm gonna try to mix up a darker green again, or like a more blue green. I'm gonna add a little bit. Oh no, my red has gotten away from me. So this is the color I think I like for my trees over here. Okay, so I have a clean side, so I'm just gonna go ahead and take this and I'm gonna dot these. So these little things right here are actually tree trunks. So I'm gonna go ahead and make this my trees. They're kind of all together. It's like kind of like it's a dense forest, so the trees are close together. I just painted my knuckle. It's kind of fun. And then you just kind of and it's okay if you get into where your branch would, or your trunk would be, because the color, the brown that you're going to use is actually darker, so it'll cover it up really nicely. But while I still have this, one thing I like to do, because before you could see how the trees were different trees, I like to put this around the edges, so it kind of makes it, you can see the different trees. You can tell, oh, this circle over here is for this tree, and that one over here is for that tree. Makes it a little easier. And then you can dot in here too if you wanted. Once again, it gives it depth, which I know is a word that I've been using a lot. Oh, dot, dot, dot. Okay, so now I have this, oops, this one from earlier that I used for my monkey. So I'm actually going to use the same one because I'm using the same color, and I'm going to use that for my tree trunks. So I think there's one here. And there's one here. And if you wanted a lighter brown, you just have to add white. And the lighter you want it, the more white that you'll need. This one's like extra fuzzy, so you can kind of see where it was super fuzzy. And then for these trees, I'm gonna make it a little lighter. I'm actually gonna use a new one. And I do still have some of this here, but I want it to have like a little bit more brown. So I'm gonna mix that up. That's a nice color. So then I'm just gonna dot my little branches. So it's not exactly the same color as the dog. See, there's my trees. So I'm gonna be done with that. I'm gonna get a new one out. I'm gonna use, I'm actually, because this already has, my red got away from me, I'm just gonna make this orange. So orange is just yellow and red. Oh, look at that, that's a nice color. So I'm gonna actually make this little girl right here wear an orange dress. I have an orange dress that I like. So I'm gonna give her one that she likes too. And I'm gonna make her hat the same color. Oops. Got a little bit on her face, that's all right. So she's gonna wear orange. And I actually like it so much, I'm gonna make this lady's umbrella orange too. Okay, let's do another blue. I'm gonna make her dress blue. And I did add a little bit of my green to it, which you can see at the bottom. And you just dot her. And then I'm gonna make this lady wear red skirt. So we haven't really used just red. I think I might also put it in my sail. I like when I see sails that are a really bright color. Get these little guys. And I think she's holding flowers, so I'm gonna make those red too. Maybe they're roses. Then I'm going to make another purple. So I gotta get all of this out of my brush. And I have these extra holes here, so I'm actually going to take it and bring it over here and take some of this and bring it over here and see what color I get. It's more of a blue, so let's add more red. So really dark purple, but I like it. So I'm gonna use this. I'm gonna get another Q-tip and I'm going to paint her skirt. I'm gonna pour myself a little more yellow because I made my yellow green. Nope, I made my yellow orange. So I'm gonna take the other side, get a little of my yellow, oop, don't drop it, and I'm gonna paint her top yellow. And I forgot my little grassy area here, so I'm gonna make another light green real quick to cover that up. It's a little darker than I wanted, but that's okay. So I'll just cover it up. See, you can still tell that it's a different color. And if I wanted to, which I will actually, I'm gonna take my, I don't know where my yellow one went, so I'll just grab another one. I'm gonna take this yellow and just kind of dot some over the top. And then take a clean side and dot over it. Okay, what else do we need color? Let's do her little flower. I'm gonna do it in red. And because she's wearing blue, I'm gonna make her hat blue too, so that her outfit matches. It looks really nice with all the green over here too. For her, I think I want to give her a yellow hat. Get a yellow umbrella, because yellow is my favorite color, so if I could, which I guess I could have colored this whole thing yellow. It wouldn't have been as fun, but I could have done it. I just realized I forgot a tree branch, so I'm just gonna color that in real quick. Tree trunk, rather. All right, so what color do we want her? Let's do that purple. Again, the dark one. Then do a little yellow up here, her little collar. So for the hair, it's easier if you just do brown, but you could add a little bit of yellow to it and kind of make it look a little bit more like hair. So I think that's a nice color. And I'll just, oops. And I'm just gonna give them all the same color hair. Well, maybe I'll make her a redhead. That sounds kind of fun. So I'm gonna do orange with a little bit more red in it. And I'm gonna give her red hair. I always wanted red hair when I was little. And then I did it once, and then I looked like Ariel, and it was the most fun that I've ever had. So this is my finished piece. I don't do the skin just because it's really hard to get a color that I like for the skin, but if you wanted to make them Martians or some type of alien and you wanted to do like pink, let me show you how to make pink. Some of you will probably want to make pink. Let me do that real quick. It's really easy. It's just red and white. So if you wanted to make pink, you'll just take this, put it in your empty spot, try to get some red that's not contaminated with blue, and then you just mix it. There's a nice pink color. I wish I would have remembered pink. Some of their dresses could have been pink. That would have been pretty. So that's how you make pink. If you want it darker, you just add more red. If you like it nice and light, you can add more white. So I hope you had fun doing this. Thank you for joining us. Once again, I want to see your finished paintings, which you can send to the JHM email at jhmuseum@jhmuseum.org or share with us on social media.